Hey, so this week's topic is really timely. I keep getting asked by various people, should I wait to buy or should I buy right now? Should I wait to sell or should I sell right now? And the answer to that question definitely depends on your specific circumstances. So I would welcome a specific conversation with you. But what I want to lay out are some basics of what I've been telling people. So if you're a first-time home buyer and you fall into the bucket where you're like most of us and you just don't have tons and tons of extra cash laying around, now is actually a really good time to consider entering the housing market. And you're like, why? The interest rates are so high and my payment's going to be really high. Well, the reason is your monthly payment might be a little bit higher, but you're not competing with nearly as many buyers in our current market. So you have a chance. You don't have to come to closing and say, I'm gonna pay $30,000 above asking price and have to bring an extra $30,000 in cash in addition to your down payment and closing costs. So you have a chance, okay? A really good chance, actually. And with the rising interest rates, we've also been seeing housing prices leveling off, or me being able to get my clients in contract for even under asking price in the right circumstances. So it's a phenomenal time if you're a buyer who does not have a ton of cash laying around, but you're still well qualified and ready to shop, to get out there and do so. I especially want to encourage my FHA and VA friends who've been nearly shut out of this market for the last several years by the conventional and cash buyers. If ever there was a time for you to get out and back into this market, it's now. And I truly mean that. So call me and let's talk. Now, the question about should I sell? Well, we are going to see in the spring even higher numbers of housing inventory shortage. So because of these high interest rates, again, the builders have pulled off a little bit and they're not pre-building as many homes. Sellers are sitting tight saying, I don't want to give up my 2.5% to 3.5% interest rate because my mortgage payment is beautiful. So even though I don't love my house, I'll just make do and I'll wait till they come back down. That housing shortage is eventually going to resurface, more than likely in the spring. The Fed is supposed to make another announcement about raising rates next week. So we had a little dip in interest rates this past week. We're down in the mid sixes. A good lender friend of mine that I spoke with yesterday seemed to think that by the beginning, even January of next year, we might be at 6, which is phenomenal. And we may see the rates drop back down into the 5s. Well, if our housing inventory is lower than it has been and those rates come back down into the 5s and people have had time to wrap their heads around the fact that the 2.5% to 3.5% interest rates are probably not coming back anytime soon, 5% is going to look really appealing. And as I just mentioned, we're going to have low inventory. So we're going to see those buyers flood back into the market and those bidding wars start again. So I would heavily encourage you that if you're considering selling your house in 2023, we need to start talking now about what you need to do to get your house ready so that you can maximize on the market in the spring. Getting out ahead of your competition is a good thing. I had a good conversation with some sellers yesterday. We were going to list right after Christmas. And because we've kind of heard about the interest rates potentially falling and because of their vacation schedule, we're pushing it to a little bit later in January. And I think it's going to be a really good thing because when those interest rates come back down, your buyers have more buying power and they can potentially offer you more for your home. So even if you have to pay that higher interest rate when you sell your house in order to buy your next house, it should be a pretty even trade. And you should be able to maximize your profits and then get into a house that actually suits your needs instead of just settling for one because you've got a low interest rate. Also, always remember your interest rate can be refinanced. So if the perfect house comes along, do you really want to not take the perfect house because of the interest rate? Or do you want to get the house, have a payment that you're okay with for a year, year and a half, maybe, and then refinance? To me, it's a no-brainer. Get the house you want, know that you can refinance later. In fact, most of my excellent lender list is offering free refinances within the next 3 to 5 years so that if you get your loan with them in the beginning, you get a free refi. There's also cool opportunities out there for you as buyers or sellers to make your home more appealing. Homes that have been sitting on the market for a little bit tend to be offering what's called a 2-1 buy down or a 3-1 buy down. What that means is about 2% of the purchase price of your home. So let's say it's a 2-1 buy down. It will cost the seller or the buyer about 2% of the total purchase price of the home in order to buy their interest rate down for the first 2 years. So if we're sitting at a 6.5% interest rate and you do a 2-1 buy down on a $400,000 house, that's $8,000 that someone has to bring to closing, be it the seller or the buyer. And what it does is it buys your rate down from a 6.5% to a 4.5% interest rate the first year. Second year, it jumps up to 5.5%. And at the end of that second year, you're into whatever the going mortgage rate is. So it is an adjustable rate mortgage, but we all have good feelings that the interest rates are gonna be back down in those 4s. So before you even get to the year where it adjusts to 5.5, you may be able to adjust it down to 4.5 permanently at no additional cost. So lots of awesome options out there. If you wanna know which specific options would be best for you and your family, feel free to give me a call, 614-579-8907. I'd love to help you understand our market and if right now is the best time for you to buy or sell. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.